we need to have more devices. Like, you can still teach coding on the board just like the way you teach math and you teach science. But I think we would all agree that people need to be able to practice with a device.
Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, wearable devices, and the rest. All of these are digital innovations that have come to Ghana, have been built by the world, and they are accepted by us. We are also building our own. However, how fast are we building them, and how are they helping us improve our economies, our people, and even our revenue generation in the country? We are going to discuss this on this episode of the Lowdown on GhanaWeb TV with our guest, who is a thought leader in digital innovation and an expert in the field. My name is Ismail Akwei. This is the Lowdown on GhanaWeb TV. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back from the break. This is the Lowdown on GhanaWeb TV. My name is Ismail Akwei, and our guest is an Odadie, and he's wearing a shirt that has that on it. Is Ato Ulzen-Appiah. Welcome to the Lowdown.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's great to be here.
I'm happy to have you, and you are described as a thought leader in digital innovation in Ghana. Why that? How long have you been in the ecosystem?
Yeah. Oh, I've been in the ecosystem for a long period. I think I'll say. I used to be in the US for many years, which is when I started, going to GhanaWeb.
Yeah.
And but I always came to Ghana every year. But I'll say in 2008, when myself and 4 other people started the first bar camp in Ghana, it's probably when I really entered the ecosystem, if I could put it that way. And then I moved back to Ghana in 2011. So since 2011, I've been here. I moved here with Google. I've also worked with Rankard, which is one of the top tier tech firms in Ghana. So I think I've been quite involved in the tech space. Currently, I'm part of the Africa is Talking team in Ghana as well. So for thought leadership, I think thought leadership is a term that has been coined a bit more in recent years. I think we speak at a lot of events and panels and share ideas about what is happening and try to educate people about what's happening. Try to mentor and help people learn. And I think thought leadership kind of carries a bit of that. So
would it be accurate to say Ghana is the fastest growing country in Africa when it comes to digital innovation?
I wouldn't say so.
Okay.
And I'll give you a quick example. The last time I was in Kenya was 2018. I was there for a program that Ghana Think, which I lead, was doing with Digital Opportunity Trust. And I remember that when we got to the airport and we were leaving the airport to go to where we were going to stay, I could hardly see taxis on the road, on the highways. So I was asking, our hosts that, where are all the taxis? And they were like, these days you don't see taxis on the roads anymore. They are all Bolt and Uber, and Safaricom has I think it's called Little Cab. If you come to Ghana, you see taxis all the time, right? So definitely, we are definitely not growing faster so far as the question is concerned compared to Kenya. I think we are up there. I would say we are probably like top 10. But I think Kenya is ahead of us, probably Nigeria is ahead of us as well.
There's some sort of rejection of digital innovation in the country, because with this Bolt situation you've given, there are a lot of taxi drivers and trotro drivers who are against Bolt drivers, and you see them fighting, saying they're taking their customers. Same with the national ID card and the whole digitalization process, where people think, well, it's taking away jobs, it's taking away their livelihoods and how they operate. Do you think this is really a serious thing to worry about?
The taking away jobs thing is mentioned everywhere in the world. So to me, it's not a serious thing to worry about. I think people need to upskill themselves, right? This is 2022. We are not in 1983. We are not in 1990, right? The world is changing. Tech has come, right? So I think people need to upskill themselves. And then if you talk about the Bolt example, I think lots of people who would be driving taxis in Nairobi are driving Bolt and Uber, right? So it's the same people, you know. So I think definitely in Ghana, you know, I don't think we adopt technology as quickly and as easily as Kenyans, and maybe some other folks. I think we can do better at it. I want us to do better at it. It's something that I'm very concerned about. And I think as we talk more about it, it would, you know, we can kind of discuss that. So, you know, I think there's always opposition to new things. But, you know, I think if people are exposed, people see the benefits of what is coming, you know, they'll latch onto things, right? So I think there's a bit of education that needs to be done to allow and help people adopt technology quicker. Because I strongly believe that if we adopt technology more, we will do better as a country. Yeah. And my last point around this is that I've dealt with, or I've engaged several young Africans, probably since 2008, you know, or even earlier. And I feel that a lot of the young Africans who use the internet more, use digital tools more, tend to get ahead of those who are not. Right. So it's just advice to everybody that, you know, you have to upskill yourself, improve your tech literacy for your own good.
Well, when we talk about digital technology and even innovation, we can't take away internet connectivity.
Yep.
We can't take away even the technology itself. Mm-hmm. We can't also take away the skill and education that it comes with. Yeah. And all these things are areas that Ghana has tried to improve on.
Yeah.
And 2008 and now, how far have we come?
Oh, I think we've come quite far. I think in 2008, we were still going to internet cafes. I mean, just think about busy, right? Think about busy internet. I mean, busy internet has grown leaps and bounds, right? So I think we've come far so far as internet connectivity is concerned, even to the point how, like, most people tether internet connections from their phones, right? So we had this whole period where we're using MiFis, you know, and these dongles. And now their phone connection is so good that you just tether it from your phone. So I think we've come quite far, you know. And I think it's good, right? Definitely it will be great to have, you know, more Wi-Fi hotspots. I mean, some other countries on the continent have more, they have Wi-Fi hotspots. I'll give you a case for Rwanda. I was there in, as far back as 2016, when I went there for the first time. I remember because we've heard all these things about Rwanda, right? And you want to go and see whether it's true. So one of my Rwandan friends told me that, you follow me, I'll show you something. So we went to a bus station, right? So a bus station, like, let's say the Ashimota bus station. And he basically told me to turn on my Wi-Fi, right? So I turned on my Wi-Fi. And I could just see Wi-Fi connections for all the buses that I could see around me. Oh. Right? So it's like, this is bus number 48. So bus number 48, Wi-Fi connect, Frio. Bus number 50, Wi-Fi connect, right? So I would love for us to see that in Ghana. Okay. So I think there's a lot more we can do around internet connectivity. There are places in urban Accra that have bad internet. It's not that great, right? So I think we have to invest a lot more in internet connectivity, especially in the rural areas, right? I mean, just think about what people can do if they have more internet.
Well, you are in the ecosystem, and I know Facebook has tried to do something on Internet for Africa. I know Google was trying to do something. But what is our problem here?
Oh, well, before we come to what Facebook and Google have tried to do, you know, there was Facebook Lite. I think there was a period of time that on Airtel Tigo you could use Facebook for free. So there are a number of things that the telcos and the Facebooks have done, right? I don't think the government has done enough compared to what it can do so far as Facebook and the telcos are concerned. So I think maybe we don't see internet as serious as maybe others do. Maybe that's why. Because, I mean, definitely there's an infrastructure cost to all of this, but there are several companies that are willing to work with our governments, right? So if you're not seeing enough happen, either the government feels that what Facebook and Google are selling is, won't work too well for them, or they're just not buying it, right? Because I know there are conversations. I mean, today I was just reading a story about how Elon Musk, I think he has like an internet service, and they have signed an agreement with the Nigerian government and the Mozambican government, and they just signed with Malawi. So why haven't they signed with Ghana? So I think definitely our governments can do more as well. And then back to what you said about the national ID. I personally, I'm very happy to see that this particular government is pushing a lot of digitalization. I think it's 10 years too late. And, I mean, obviously there will be pushback around different things that we say, but it must be done. But it also must be done well, right? In some cases, maybe it's not doing it as well as it could. That's why we have long queues and people still don't have their national IDs. But I'm very happy with the agenda that they are pushing. I think we need to force our people to come online and use digital tools. It will be great for the government. It will be great for startups and businesses in the tech space. It will be great for all of us.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about data protection, security, online security, which is something that is of concern to a lot of Ghanaians. And also we'll talk about the innovations that we have here, because I'm sure you're also supervising some of them. Yes. This is a Lowdown. We'll take a break, and we'll be right back after this and continue the conversation. Welcome back from the break. This is the Lowdown on GhanaWeb TV. My name is Ismail Akwei. Our guest is Ato Ulzen-Appiah. He's a thought leader on digital innovation. So we're discussing some of the digital innovations in Ghana and how far we've come from the past. Before we even go on to other issues on this, I just want to pick your thoughts on the win of BizTech in the National Science and Maths Quiz. I just can't take that one away out of my mind. National Science and Maths Quiz, people are complaining that there's no technology bits in there. And you are more into technology, even though, yes, science covers all of that. But what do you make of first, the setup of the competition, and then secondly, the win of BizTech?
So I think, to be frank, in Ghana, sometimes we complain a lot, way too much. We have to try and reduce it a bit. And a lot of people complain because they don't know, right? It's a national science and maths quiz. It's not a national science and maths and technology quiz, okay? If people want to see technology in a quiz, there are robotics competitions in Ghana. MTN used to have a high school competition, apps challenge, that BizTech has won a couple of times. So there are competitions, right? So we should leave the National Science and Maths Quiz to be.
And it's not because BizTech won.
It's not because BizTech won. I mean, personally, I have, through Ghana Think, we've done some work with the National Science and Maths Quiz. We've worked with them on mentoring sessions for high school students. And that has now been put into something that's called the STEM Festival. So a lot of people don't know about this, but I'm sure with time, they'll make more people know about it. With all the sponsors that they have and all of those things. So the STEM Festival has a Science Tech Innovation Challenge, whereby schools are chosen, they come to compete, and then they have to build a technology in under 24 hours. Right? So this is something that the same people who run National Science and Maths Quiz run, but a lot of people don't know about it. Right? So I encourage people to check it out.
I'm happy we are talking about education, because education is very key in digital innovation. Now, a lot of parents have heard that they should take their kids to study coding because that's where the money is.
Yeah.
Others also have been told that as early as 4 years old, they can start doing things. We see
Yeah.
the Chinese doing a lot of things.
Yep.
We see even Americans and all the Europeans doing a lot of stuff in terms of digital creation and all of that. Do you think it is the case for Ghana? Because, you know, we have our challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least in the developed countries, the money is in coding. Think of your Googles, your Apples, your Facebooks. Ghana, not so much. But I think the importance of coding is what it actually teaches students and teaches kids, right? I think it really opens up their minds and they are able to, you know, grasp other concepts and do better, right? So I think we should not just look at coding as the kid is learning coding to become a programmer. We should think of it as part of their learning to become a better student or a better professional in the future. So yeah, I think there are lots of different programs and organizations that run coding classes and lessons for people in Ghana. Many of them are even free, right? Whether it's at, you know, a younger level. I mean, I know several organizations that are in our network that do these kinds of trainings, and they will normally charge kids of rich people to pay.
Okay.
And then maybe people from underprivileged areas, they wouldn't charge them, right? So I think people should look out for some of these opportunities and get their children and, you know, teenagers to start learning coding.
Is it too early to introduce something like coding or even programming to our basic school curriculum?
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, there are coding softwares and games that people can learn even at 4 years old, right? I mean, I have a friend, Florence Toffa, her organization Mobile Web Ghana, they lead this Africa Digital Skills Conference, and her kids started learning coding very, very young. So there are different softwares at different ages. And I mean, basic school, I think we go to class 1 when we are like 6 years old. Yeah, so I think maybe for the curriculum, I think we do have some kind of a ICT subject in basic school.
Well,
So,
I don't know if it's the same one I learned when I was in basic school.
yeah,
but
I think we do. I know
the drawing of the computer on the board and all of that.
so
Because that's
so I know we have one for GSS, which is now class 7 to class 9. I don't know if they have it before class 7. I mean, the drawing on the board and things, I think that's a challenge, right? We need to get to the point where we have devices for kids to be able to use. I mean, we need to have more devices. Like, you can still teach coding on the board just like the way you teach math and you teach science. But I think we would all agree that people need to be able to practice with a device, right? So if even we just have one device per classroom, I think that's a good start.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you think that will be a win for the country? If
Absolutely.
we start early?
Absolutely. I mean, think of coding. Like, lots of people do remote work as programmers. So if you've gotten to a point where you have several 17-year-olds who've learned how to code and are very good, like, just go to India, they have that kind of thing. All these 17-year-olds can get jobs to do, right? And their jobs will not only just be from people in Ghana, they'll be worldwide. So, absolutely.
Wow. Well, this is quite mind-boggling for me because I'm thinking we have school feeding program which we are just feeding and it's very difficult to do.
Yes.
And then now you want to introduce something like coding. And yes, there are jobs and all of that. But are we there yet? Is Ghana there? Can we do it?
Well, maybe the problem is the school feeding program. No, I mean, look, I'm sure we can convince some companies that produce devices to provide devices for many schools in Ghana if we're not corrupt about it, right? And we did it the right way. So I don't think it should be that difficult. You see, for me, if I look at the education system in Ghana, especially the public education system, sometimes it's very hard for different organizations to get in there and help because there's so much bureaucracy and all of those things. If we cut some of those bureaucracies, we can solve this problem easily.
Yeah. Now let's talk about some of the digital innovations that we have here. I know a lot of people have done so many important things with the digital ecosystem.
Yeah.
However, we don't see them, and only a few people use them. So what have you come across, and what have you also supervised so far?
So in my work at the Cosmos Innovation Center, we train entrepreneurs who are building innovative and commercially driven solutions along the agri-value chain. So for instance, one of the companies that has come to our program is called Tractor. And they basically are like an Uber for tractors. So if I am a farmer, I can use a USSD, like a *707# to order a tractor service from you. So maybe you have a tractor, it's not working, as in it's stationary, no one is using it. So I can order that service and then it comes to do the work for me. So these are some of the technologies that people are building. We also have companies that are kind of like building crowdfunding softwares for people in agriculture, like Quidex. We have Tech Shelter that's using technology to be able to automate greenhouses, like, control temperature, control when, plants are going to be watered. So just this in agri space. If you go to the health space, there are several innovations that people are working on. For IoT, there are different organizations that are trying to build in terms of things. So you have the IoT network led by Joshua Otu that they've built, a number of different types of products. Making them commercial is tough, because we don't have as much people who want to adopt technology, which is, I think, that is the bane of the problem, right? If we have more people who want to adopt technology, more of the people who are building these innovations will do well. And then we have automation services like what Clear Space Labs does. So there are a lot of really interesting and cool things that people are building, but we need people to be able to adopt them more. And also, we must say that those who are building these technologies have to be able to build their business sense, right? A lot of the times they are just very technical. They know how to code, they know how to program, they know how to build the product. But taking it to market is quite difficult, right? So either they need to partner with business development people, partner with people who understand numbers on that side, like finances, or even partner with marketing agencies to help them sell what they're doing. So, I think those are some of the things that,
Isn't that where the government comes in? Because a lot of people are trying to build cars.
Yeah.
You see a lot of people trying to build other apps that could make things easier. But we find maybe government giving the contract to people outside the country and not using the locals.
For me, if we depend on government, we won't go anywhere. So I just have to say that as a disclaimer. So we need to be able to go out and sell to not just government. But that said, I think we've seen the governments do better. I mean, for instance, you might have heard about Ghana.gov.gh. So this is something, a platform that is being built by ExpressPay, IT Consortium, and Dream Oval. These are all tech companies in Ghana, right? And so when we heard that they had gotten that contract, a lot of us were really, really excited because that didn't used to happen. But on the flip side, government business is also quite big business, right? So it's a bit much to ask that a certain Ghanaian tech firm or startup that is not that big comes to take a certain government contract, right? So our tech firms, right, need to be able to show that they can take on bigger work, right, that covers the whole country. And one of the best ways to do this is to do consortiums. So even the example I gave is 3 companies that have come together. It's not one, right? So we need to be able to collaborate more and do these consortiums. And I think especially for startups, startups also need to be able to work with some of the bigger tech firms like your IT Consortium, ExpressPay, Dream Oval, B Systems, SoftTribe. They need to be able to start working with some of them so that when some of these contracts are coming, they can also partner with them to execute some of these things. So we need to build capacity, right? Definitely, government can do more, but we also need to look at what we can do to ensure that government comes to us.
Well, some of these startups also have some challenges where people take their copyright materials, they take their how do you call it? The whole blueprint of their creativity.
Yeah.
And they are afraid to even share their ideas or even share what their prototypes with other companies. How are they protected?
I'm sure these startups know that this happens in the US as well.
Yes. Yes. I mean, it's a global problem.
It's a global problem.
Yeah.
So I think maybe it is harder to fight it here because of the judicial system, because our trademark laws are not as stringent as maybe in the US or in the UK. So that's something we need to improve, right? So
do you have any system in place besides the law? Do you have any systems in place?
So I don't know as much about this,
okay.
But the Registrar General can tell us more. I know they have a trademark office and things like that. But for me, what I tell people is, you know, like ideas are a dime a dozen, right? I mean, the fact that Facebook hasn't started it doesn't mean they're not working on it. Okay, so you might come to market first, but maybe they've been working on it. Yeah. Right? So the key thing is to come to market. If you believe in what you're doing, come out, start selling it, make money. That's the best way to protect your idea. Right? And then if you come out and you start selling it and you're making money and someone copies, then you take them to court. It's that simple.
It's so expensive to go to court and time consuming. And you may end up not even having your product back. But then the others are benefiting from it.
Like I said, it's the judicial system in Ghana. Yeah. So if you're going to come up with something, make sure you're coming out with something that no one can copy. And that is very, very hard. Yeah. So if you're really good, make it happen.
Well, these are some of the problems we have. People are trying to build Facebook for Ghana. People are trying to build Twitter for Ghana. But it doesn't work.
People have been trying to build Facebook for Ghana for a long time.
And it's not working.
I'll tell you why it's not working. It's the literacy. It's that simple. It's literacy.
On the part of the people?
Of the part of people in Ghana.
Okay.
Right? So let's take TikTok. Right? TikTok is newer. Before people started using TikTok in Ghana, they had gotten popular elsewhere. Right? Why did they get popular quickly? Because they are in markets where people have lots of phones, they are digitally literate. If there's something new, they will use it. In Ghana, if you build something new, will people really use it? Right? So if you want to build a Facebook in Ghana, I would totally advise you not to, because you're not going to be as successful as someone who's building this in the US. Right? So you have to build something that would work very well here, like mobile money. Think about mobile money. I mean, mobile money has worked very well here. So there are certain things that can really ramp up well, right? So again, it's business, right? You want to build something cool like TikTok. Is it really going to work just like it works in the US? Not really. But if you do your research and understand what people really need and you build it for them and then they use it, then you're going somewhere.
Well, that's quite interesting. And you said mobile money. Well, something like mobile money, since there's money involved, a lot of people will just latch on.
Yeah.
I think it's about the social conversation and just interaction. Yeah. I think that's why people would think, why would I leave Twitter to be on your platform?
So let's give some examples. Like, most of the top apps or tech firms in Ghana are fintech, right? Because there's been a huge issue of payments. That's why ExpressPay is doing well. That's why SlidePay, is doing well. That's why ZPay is doing well, because there was a real need for people to be able to pay people. Okay, if you look at maybe another, M-Pharma is also doing, moving quite well in Ghana. So you have to look at what is working, right? What is going to work? Like, what can you ramp up easily, right? It's not, for me, it's not about building things that are cool. It's about building things that have content, building things that are needed. That's how you make money. And
now some people are also building things around NFTs. What's your take on NFTs?
Okay. So NFT is something quite new. I'm trying to remember. I know there are a couple of cases. I know some South Africans who've been working on NFTs. I think there's someone who is doing that in Ghana, but I don't remember their name. So it's quite novel. It's quite novel. I think the good thing that we can leverage NFTs for is the international market, right? So people can convert different things that are really Ghanaian, right, cultural, into an NFT that would interest people who want to buy those things now. So I wouldn't say it's like a space that everyone should just rush into, but I think there's promise there.
Are you already having an account, NFT account?
Nah. I don't. I don't really do NFT.
Yeah.
In fact, it took me a while to even get onto crypto.
So for the, education of our audience, NFTs are non-fungible tokens. So they are virtual currencies where you can sell anything from videos or even photos for some virtual currencies, and that currency can also be converted into real currency. So this is a different world and it's new. However, it has its own challenges, and people have complained about the markets going down and losing so much money, and you need to spend a lot to get some tokens. And all
I think that's a bit like the crypto space, right? I mean, they are both relatively new spaces, so there will be some volatility in that sense. So people just have to be. Lots of people who would get into that are people who can take risks, and unfortunately, a lot of people who have a lot of money, so they can just go and put some money there and not have to worry about it. But in this economy, we can't go and put the money that we don't need to worry about. So,
So safety. Now, safety is quite a serious thing for us Ghanaians, and it's one of the things that hinders the interest in digital technology and all of that, where you would have people's emails being harvested, people's phone numbers being taken online. You'll be getting so many messages, and now there are all these clickbaits where you just click and then you are gone. They take everything. They take over your Twitter account. They take over all these things. How are we managing it as a country?
So, first, I think we as Ghanaians must take responsibility for this, right, and help people learn this. So when I say that, what I'm trying to say is that in a lot of our networks, right, if people post these clickbait articles or scams, we tell them that these are scams. We educate them about it. We tell them to stop. That's something that we should all do. So I'm just telling this to everyone. Secondly, there's a lot of conversation about cybersecurity, right? So even at the high school level, there's an organization that is helping start and support cybersecurity clubs at schools. There's one at BizTech as well. So it's important to support their work so that they can help, younger people understand all these clickbait issues, how to be safe online, so that they can do better. And then thirdly, I think on the government side, there's also like a cybersecurity thing. There are some companies that are also kind of doing this. So we all have to help train around this. And the people who need to help do this the most are those in the tech space, right? Because if people, are not educated about this, they won't really come and use what we build, right? And we need to have a bigger population of people who understand tech. So it's all part of the education, right? So I think those who are tech firms, especially those who are growing, making more money, should probably spend some corporate social responsibility type funding to train people on how to do better things online, how to use the internet safely, cybersecurity, how to detect scams, because the scams thing is simple. It's just, they said, click here, you're going to get 1,000 cedis. And people who don't know anything better are like, oh, 1,000 cedis. And then they'll go and click, right? So, once we educate that, first, you won't get 1,000 cedis. So let's let you understand that. And then you're also exposing yourself to scammers and people who can take over your accounts, like you were saying. So it's all education. And I think the responsibility should come with the people in the tech space.
Well, the responsibility should come with the people in the tech space. This is the Lowdown on GhanaWeb TV. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back from the break. This is the Lowdown on GhanaWeb TV. My name is Ismail Akwei. We are discussing digital innovation in Ghana and the future of the country when it comes to digital innovation. Our guest is Ato Ulzen-Appiah. We've been discussing about education, how that is the bedrock to safety online, to the creation of digital tools, and also to the development of the country. And digital innovation has to do with creating these tools to help in economic development, to help in even national development, human development, and all of that. However, we've seen that in Ghana, people are not interested in technology, and it takes a long time before they latch onto it. A lot of people keep saying, I'm not interested in mobile money because I don't want to be duped. Why is my money going somewhere and I don't have access to it? I can't touch it. People say, well, I don't want to be on Facebook because I think that's where people go there to be promiscuous. So I don't want to be there. And then later, they will see that maybe something or someone has created an image or an account in their name, and they rush to Facebook now to go claim it. You know, and even with Ghana Card, a lot of complaints about Ghana Card. Where is our data? Where is it going? All these questions. And as if other countries don't have national IDs. How do we go around this? Because it's an attitude problem.
So I think the GRA launched a service that allows people to like pay taxes online or something. So, and then the government has done lots of these, this, that. I think the key thing is we need to incentivize people to use these platforms, right? Think about the recent case where they said they are launching a SIM registration app and you have to pay 5 cedis to use it. Like why? You are trying to get people to be digital. Why would you charge them 5 cedis to do this thing? So we are not incentivizing digitalization. So we need to fix that. Second, I think so far as like the government is concerned, we need to think about empowering our people, right? And we can empower our people if they know more, can do more, have more skills. So I think we literally need to force people to do government business online and to do government business digitally. And those who do it, reward them. Or those who are struggling to do it, incentivize them. Because it's just going to be better for the government. It's going to make things much easier. We hear a lot about blockchain, right? So I think the government needs to do that. And then we come to responsibility, where for me, the creators and the innovators come in, right? We are not here to just build cool technologies and show it somewhere and show a video. Like, oh, look at this video. This person did some really cool thing. Who is using it? We're not here to watch cool videos. We're here to make our lives better, right? And in doing so, we need to be able to build things that people would use and can even afford, right? I mean, for KIC, we work a lot in the agri space. We have people who are building innovations for the farmers all the time. And the things that they are building today, farmers can't afford. So why can't we look at building something that they can? Right? So it's one thing to see a cool technology somewhere in Denmark and want to come and do it in Ghana when people can't afford it. We have to build things that have content, like, you know. So for me, I'm very passionate about Kummerwood when it comes to technology, right? I think the Kummerwood industry is very big, right? We need to be able to build technology in that industry to make it even better. Those are some of the things that we really need to be thinking about.
And the problem is, who is going to take that step? Because Kummerwood industry, you see their graphics and everything, and people were like, oh, they built a robot. They used a graphic designer created a robot, and you see a robot chasing people.
But people are watching it.
And people are watching it, actually.
So is it the people who have a problem?
Who has to step up? Because we have a lot of these tech people in the space. A lot of them need jobs. They are looking for jobs in Google and other places.
I think, you see, the Kummerwood thing is interesting because as people are watching it, it's making money, right? So the more it makes money, the more they can afford for that robot that you see that is not built well to spend more money to build a better robot, right? So I think sometimes we have to also look at some of those gains, right? Because, you know, we need to use money for some of these things, right? So for me, we need to take tech to where we can make money, make it make more, make its impact more, and then use that to do other things.
Yeah. I'm going to ask this question for, let's say, a class 6 people who watches this interview and wants to be like you. Because yes, you've worked with Google, you've worked with other brands, you've studied technology as well. You've studied so far, I mean, in your life.
Yeah.
How can a child who wants to be, let's say, a digital entrepreneur, where does he start from? Do you need to study science in secondary school? Does he need to study maybe tech in university before the person can venture into digital space?
Yeah. So first, he or she does not need to study science or tech. Lots of top programmers, coders, developers in Ghana, they did not study computer science at university. They studied optometry or something else. But it's because they learned this on their own. That's what made them really good, right? Because there's also the university issues of how we teach computer science. Okay, like the whole classroom and it's theoretical and things. So they do not need to study science or technology. But I think what they really need to do is read. So if you're a class 6 pupil, you're listening to me, start reading.
General reading or reading?
General reading. Okay. If you get your mom's phone or your dad's phone, go online, read news, read something. Because that would really help them improve and they'll be able to take on more things. If you are particularly interested in technology, there are a lot of videos that, because people like to watch videos, right? There's of videos on YouTube that you can watch to learn about technology. I mean, there's something called Scratch, which is a software that I think most people at that age use. So watch videos about technology, read, and try and find people around you, okay, who understand technology and work with it, right? So none of this is studying science and technology, right? It's just reading, watching videos about the things that you need to know, and finding someone around you who understands technology and works with it so that they can point 1 or 2 things to you.
Yeah. And at what point should that person, he or she, start learning whatever they want to do? Maybe they want to go into robotics. At what point should they start practicing it?
Oh, I mean, I think I mean, as early as they can with tools available to them is fine. But if I was to really pick an age, I would probably say when they are in I don't know if it's still GHS or basic school, I think around that time. Yeah. So class 7 to 9. Okay. I think that's a good time because by then they would have had a good fundamental knowledge from, science, math up to like class 6. And they can probably take on a lot more things. Yeah. So I would say that's probably a good age. But lots of people start earlier. If you have access to the information, to the tools, to the devices, to people, which is very important. People to actually teach you the right thing, right? Because if people are not teaching you the right thing, then you go and click all the clickbaits. Yeah. So it's very important to get mentors.
And what advice will you give the parents? Where should they take their kids?
Okay, so first, I think parents in Ghana should believe that there are lots of people in Ghana who can help their kids. That's one. So there are several, after-school programs or summer camps, boot camps that they can take their kids to learn some of these things. I also think that, surely, we need to guide our kids online. I think those who build the softwares, those who build the devices are also aware of that, right? Because in countries that are not Ghana, people get sued, right, by parents if their kids go online and do something that's untoward. Okay. So I think those who are building the technology are also mindful of that, and they want to ensure that parents have control to ensure that their kids are learning the right things. So clearly, we need parents to be educated about some of these things as well and not worry too much.
Well, there are so many resources like the Ghana Innovation Week, which is an event that comes up every year, and it brings together, people who are in the innovation industry, and they talk about all these things. What do you make of that? And I think you are part of it.
Yeah. So I think the Ghana Digital Innovation Week is, which just happened, it's quite important. The thing I love the most about this particular event is that GIZ, which implements it, they invite lots of organizations that are in the digital innovation space to come and organize sessions. So for KIC, there's a session that we worked on. For Ghana Think, for Ghana STEM Network, for the different hubs, they're all organizing sessions as part of this. So I think it's great that it brings the ecosystem together. And it allows us to be able to share different ideas and talk about what is working as well. So I think the more we have these events, especially ensuring that government is there to listen, not just to talk, because too many times government people just come to events and talk and go away. They need to come and listen and engage and talk to people who are actually working in this space so that we can come up with solutions that would help Ghana. So
we have the digital innovation champions coming together to speak to people and also to bring up some of the things that are happening within the ecosystem. Well, this is quite great. But you keep mentioning KIC. I think that's where you work. Yes. What does that mean, KIC?
Cosmos Innovation Center.
Okay, Cosmos Innovation Center. And that's where you do a lot of innovations. You support
so we support agri-tech startups like Tractor, Tech Shelter, Agri-Mecab, Maku Foods, Farm Estates. There are several startups that are doing very innovative things in the agri space that we are funding and coaching and helping build. So
if someone wants to be funded, do they have to apply to KIC?
Yes. So we have the Agri-Tech Challenge Classic, which is a program that is an entrepreneurship training program. So you have to apply to join that. And then if you go through that program and you do very well, then we would move you on to the Pro. And if you do very well in the Pro, we will give you funding.
Where are they getting the forms from? Do they have to come to your office or they can get it online?
We are talking about digital, right? So they should just go to our website, kicghana.org.
Okay.
And especially check out our Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram. For me, I like when people use social media. So please check out our social media, engage us there. Let's help, build better businesses.
Well, a fufu pounding machine qualify for such, or it doesn't fit?
No, under the a fufu pounding machine is innovative. It fits under the agri sector.
Oh, it does.
Yes.
I know you get a lot of applications from fufu pounding machine innovators, but there are so many of them. I see some with the wood. I see some with just a grinder. And you see so many of them.
I mean, it's exciting. I haven't used the fufu powder machine before, but I think it's really exciting that there are more of these in the system, and I know some people who use them. So it's great. I think gradually we are introducing tech and innovation in many aspects of our lives, and it's going to make our lives better.
And indeed, people are doing so many things, but it's just how to commercialize them. That's the problem. And I think with your organization, some money can come in to commercialize it, and I guess you give some direction as well as to how to fund it and grow it to make it a world-class tool for people.
I mean, a company like Tractor, they are currently in Ghana, they're in Nigeria, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Togo, Benin. They've grown, right? We need to have startups like this that don't work only well in Ghana, but able to grow to the point where they are elsewhere. So more of them as we work on all of these things.
You have any final words before we go?
Well, I would say that digitalization is good for us. we need to embrace it. We need to embrace technology, and it could really take us far, right? It could make us very competitive as Ghanaians and as a country. And then I also just want to speak to all the folks out there who are building digital innovations, going ahead, taking the risk. More of them to them. Let's get better at it. Let's build things that people will use, that we can make money from. Let's build things that are world class, right? That can challenge everywhere so that we don't have just customers in Ghana. We have customers in Togo, we have customers in Rwanda, we have customers all around the world. And, you know, let's believe we can do it. And then maybe lastly, we need to support great Ghanaian things, right? If Ghanaians are doing something good, please let's support them. Yeah, we need that to grow.
Yeah.
Like, we really need that to grow. That one is, I'm even begging. I'm even begging, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Clearly, let's support Made in Ghana innovations. Let's build world-class products, and let's also be very commercial at building our products. These are the words of our guest, Ato Ulzen-Appiah. We're discussing the digital innovation in Ghana and the future, where Ghana is right now in digital innovation. Thank you very much for watching this episode of The Lowdown on GhanaWeb TV. Watch us every Monday on GhanaWeb TV and also on all of our digital platforms. My name is Ismail Akwei. Be safe.